Damon, last night I went to bed and I had a dream. I had a dream that Arizona was going to be ranked in the first top 25. And it got released today, right? Like, so they got ranked, right?
Then you turned off your PlayStation.
It's the AZ Wildcats podcast, and it starts now.
Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats podcast, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. It is I, your host, Damon Fairall, coming to you right here from PHNX HQ3 in downtown Phoenix with my guy, Kevin Thomas, a.k.a. the 2026 ALLCITY Network Content Creator of the Year, a.k.a. Kevo Post. Again, we're here downtown Phoenix, and we are excited on a Monday to be talking about some more Arizona Wildcats athletics, Kevo, because the AP Top 25 released its opening iteration of the Top 25 poll that, of course, kind of determines the rankings every year. Coaches poll, AP Top 25 poll, what is usually used as the metric to determine whether or not you're in the rankings. And Arizona, just outside that top 25. If you listen to our audio-only podcast, of course, you would have expected that to be the case because yours truly predicted just as much, Kevin. But yeah, that's, of course, a little plug to subscribe on our audio podcast side of things. If you are an audio listener, thank you so much for watching and listening to the pod. But yeah, I mean, not exactly the most shocking news in the world, Kevin. Raw reaction, Arizona outside the top 25. Where do you stand?
Okay. You know what I mean? Like, we were a team that was kind of on the borderline of this at the end of last season. And I think you lose multiple NFL quality defensive backs. I think at the national level, you probably look at a team like Arizona and think, yes, they return a lot of production. Yes, they have maybe the best quarterback in the Big 12, if you know ball. But I'm not completely shocked that Arizona is unranked. Like, I'm not going to get on this podcast today and be like, this is a travesty, and how could Arizona not be in the top 25? I think when you look at some of the teams that got votes ahead of them, I think you could make an argument that maybe Arizona deserved to be a little bit more respected, but I think they're in the correct range, I'll say. Okay. They're, like, this might be the lower end of the range that I would have them on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where they're practically, for conversational purposes, they're 29th. Right, the fourth most votes outside of the 25. So to be 29th, I think is like the kind of low end of where I would have them. I think maybe you could look at like a 23 as like the high end, kind of in that range. So I'm not really upset with this at all. My raw reaction was that, hey, I just woke up this morning. That means I don't got to make a graphic right off the wake up. So that's nice and convenient. But yeah, all jokes aside, like, this is the lower end of where I'd have them. So I disagree with it, but I'm not shocked by it. What was your raw reaction?
As I said, as I did on the audio-only podcast, I expected Arizona to be in one of the first 5 teams outside of the top 25. It felt like that sweet spot that the Wildcats would find themselves in. And it seems as though pretty much the caliber of Big 12 teams that Arizona is considered to be with is fair, wouldn't you say? I mean, it's, if you're looking on the back end of this list, Utah at 21, Houston at 23. Arizona effectively is 29th. I believe TCU is effectively 30th, and Oklahoma State is somewhere like 33rd. So that's kind of the class that they have Arizona involved with, which I think is, I would say a fair evaluation. The Big 12, I think, is such a parity-driven conference, and there's such a variance of what could happen, how your season can go versus from an upside perspective versus what it looks like when everything goes wrong. Look at like an Iowa State last year. There was a portion of the season where Iowa State is looking like the best team in the conference, probably the favorites for the Big 12 after they beat Arizona, frankly. And then they just have an absolute disaster second half of the season. and it just doesn't go to plan. I feel like Kansas State was the favorite going into last year. They were bad again last season, like another disappointing year for Avery Johnson. ASU, of course, we all know what happened in 2024, being picked last and finishing first. Like this, anything can happen in the Big 12. So it doesn't really necessarily mean much, I don't think, but I do think it's fair to have Arizona kind of sandwiched in between that group of five-ish Big 12 teams there.
Sorry, I muted myself there. I got a question for you, Damon. We are a Arizona podcast first and foremost, right? Big 12, I think, is like a secondary thing that we kind of cover here, talking about the grander ecosystem that we belong to, right?
Yeah.
I say all that to say I'm admittedly not that well versed in like what Pac-12 football is going to look like this year. As you all know, I'm like super dialed in on the college basketball side, but like I'm not really necessarily as dialed in on like Pac-12 football as I am the Big 12, for example. What is Boise State cooking? And why do they have 11 more votes than us and only, 8 less votes than Florida? Did Ashton Jainty get the 5 and 5? What is Boise State cooking? And why? Like, that's the only, I think, thing that I am going to get up here and be like, this can't happen. Like, we have Noah Fafita, Seth Dagey, Danny Gonzalez. Like, I think that when you have these things and you have a season and the way that Arizona could have ended their season, like, we probably deserve more votes than Boise State. Again, I could be ignorant. Maybe Boise State has some crazy quarterback, or maybe they got some crazy running back again, or whatever. But, like, Boise State getting 11 more votes than Arizona feels interesting. I don't know. Am I missing something there?
I think that's almost a program, a reverence to the program type of move there. And whether or not that's fair is, I think, something that we could discuss and open up and talk about for a full hour, right? Because, like, if Arizona was playing against Mountain West teams for all these past 2 decades, like Boise State's seen during their rise to prominence, you don't think that we'd have some 10-2, 11-1 seasons in the mix? Like, again, they're playing in the Mountain West. And so now they're a part of the Mountain West All-Stars. I think it remains to be seen what that conference will look like when it's kind of at its strength. We certainly, think it's probably the 5th best conference and by a decent amount in distance there, right? Like, the ACC and the Big 12 assume to be a lot better than the Mountain West. Yeah. That's not to say in any given odd year that the Mountain West couldn't maybe have a better season than those conferences. But yeah, I just don't necessarily think that a team that's, in an unknown conference, a mystery box conference like the Pac-12 should be above Arizona given the seasons that the two programs had last year. So I'm with you there. Florida, similar type of situation up there at, what is essentially 27th. And then Clemson at 26, essentially. Clemson was kind of the talk of the coaches poll when it came out. I talked to both Clemson insiders that I brought onto the show in regards to RJ Godfrey, just asking them real quick, like, what was your guys' interpretation of Clemson making it into the coaches poll? And both of them were kind of the opinion, like, yeah, that's probably not deserved. Dabo has a lot of great relationships within the coaching ranks in particular, and I think that, that the coaches, as much as Kevin, you're not like super knowledgeable about what Pac-12 football is going to look like in 2026, you think that the coaches that are worried about their own conference, their own teams, and have so much to deal with on a daily basis are really hyper-analyzing. Like, you think SEC coaches are like, man, I really like Clemson's opportunity to win the ACC this year. I just think that, when you compare their quarterback and running back situation, they just have one of the best backfields here in the ACC. It's like, no, they don't know any of that. They know that they like Dabo. Clemson's usually good, and I see that Clemson Tigers logo, and they vote him into the poll. Now, I didn't expect Clemson to be in the media poll because of that. Damn close, though, Kevin. Damn close. Just the last team out of it. Clemson last year, I believe, was 7-6. They won their bowl game. That was with a senior quarterback in Cade Klubnik, who had won a lot of college football games. They have basically complete unknowns running the show now. I don't think that they deserve to be anywhere near the top 25. They also play in the ACC. They went 7-6 in the ACC last year, which was the worst of the Power 4 conferences. So I just, that one's a little bit shocking to me. I agree with you. I think Boise State is as well. Like, that to me is like more, bowing down to a program there than it is to, like evaluating, I guess, like what you think the team is going to be next season.
Glenn with some very important context here saying also Boise had its highest ranked recruiting class in history and returned 13 starters.
We also return, I think,
Yes.
around that many starters to be fair, and
But
also had a better record in a harder conference last year. But I hear you.
To combine your points, like if you are just going to give reference to Boise State and say, well, they're kind of crushing it, highest ranked recruiting class in history, 13 stars. I get it. It makes a little bit more sense now. I still disagree with it, but yeah, that is some important context.
Yeah, I mean,
there as
I'm
well.
sure there'll be a good team. They figure to be the cream of the crop of that conference, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Like I think that if you're Washington State and Oregon State and you have any self-respect, you got to be towards the top of that conference. You guys were just in the actual Pac-12. You've now created this new conference. You can't then invite a bunch of Mountain West teams and then be like a mediocre. That'd be horrible.
It'd be
So I
awful.
think those two teams have to be at the top. I think San Diego State figures to be a pretty damn good team with the move up, and I think Boise State, yeah, they'll hit the ground running there for sure. But yeah, we'll see when it comes to that. I mean, if Arizona and Boise State, had similar seasons, Arizona's obviously a better team being in a better conference, I guess, would be my, kind of line in the sand that I'm drawing there.
Now, next question I want to ask you, though, Damon, is any Big 12 rankings individually surprise you, right? Obviously, we kind of talked about Arizona, but there are some other Big 12 schools that were ranked. Obviously, it starts with number, I think 12, is it? Yeah, 12 with Texas Tech. You have 14, BYU. You have 21, Utah, 23, Houston as well. Any of those rankings surprise you? Anything that you agree or disagree with there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Texas Tech, BYU, probably where I would rank them, around that range. Texas Tech maybe a bit higher if Will Hammond had maybe a little bit higher of a floor. But I do think, as we talked about in the Pete Mundo interview, Will Hammond's ceiling is sky high. So I could see a world where Will Hammond is much better than Brendan Sorsby next year. And it's just kind of, I think it's on him to prove that to people and to voters. Yes, Kevin.
Mr. Fairall, permission to call Will Hammond the Hammer this season?
I'll defer to you on that one. But I think
Because we're captain of Hammond FC.
We were early on that take, and then we looked pretty bad.
But
when
I didn't
we
sell
came in
my
against
stock
ASU
because the stock dropped so low. I didn't sell. I just kept it. I held.
Yeah, and it went in the gutter for a little bit. But I think that we're back up.
We might be back.
Yeah, we might be back. We'll
Hammer
see
FC, dude.
here. We might be back. But number 14, BYU, with Bear Bachmeier back, with LJ Martin back, Sataki, of course, turning down Penn State. I think that's more than fair. It's probably about where they'll be ranked most of the season, in my opinion. I'll skip over Utah here, and you'll see why in a second. Number 23, Houston. Everyone loves Willie Fritz. I saw every poll that I saw had Houston in this range from most media perspectives. I think Houston is the darling of this conference, and we'll see whether or not that's earned. I like Willie Fritz a lot. I mean, I think I've made that pretty clear on this podcast. I think I said on the audio only show that Willie Fritz is the type of coach where I know he says he wants to create a powerhouse in Houston, but I just don't know how realistic that is given NIL resources. And if Kelvin Sampson's out there being yo, can I get some money for this program? I can't imagine that football is all that, easy to get the necessary resources to build a contending football team like that. I feel like Willie Fritz is just A&M or Florida or something like that bound eventually. Don't you? To me, he feels like whenever a big SEC job opens up, why are you not going after the guy who's in the South right now, who just grabbed Houston and turned them into, from a joke of a football team, I guess not really a joke. They've been decent with Ed Oliver and stuff, but they weren't good when he took them over, and then now made them a top 3 Big 12 contender potentially in his third season, I want to say.
Yeah. Before we get to the rest of the Big 12 rankings, I want to bring some attention to some comments here, right? Known listener of the show, Jared_Hansen, also known BYU fan, is saying, it was up here earlier, that great, now we have to play a lowly unranked AZ week 2. But then SOGEZ hits him with the truth and said, that means if you guys lose, it's an unranked loss. Don't you want Arizona to be 25 and then maybe have a win and then maybe be 24.
I think that is what they wanted, yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, why is it like, yeah, now you have to play these bums? It's like, well, that makes your schedule lesser, doesn't it? And then Ashton Young, maybe related, I don't know, to answer the title of the stream, which I believe as someone who drafted the title, it's not even a question. So you're answering a statement. So you're just talking back. Anyway, it's because Arizona is so garbage in a poverty university. BYU is going to win the Big 12 and destroy everyone. Go Cougs. Go Cougs. Arizona and Arizona State are poverty. And I just said, damn, what do we do? What did we do, Ashton? We were just saying.
I was just saying I think BYU's ranking is warranted.
And I was going to say, my response to the Big 12 teams in the top 25 were going to be, I would actually probably rank BYU ahead of Texas Tech. That's me personally. Because I think BYU's the better football team. Man. I think Texas Tech has the better brand right now. They got all the money, da-da-da-da-da. But my thing would be, I think BYU should be probably like where maybe Oklahoma is at like 10.
Shut your poverty ass up, Kevin.
You know what I mean? Stupid, poor Wildcat doesn't know football.
You're sorry, poverty programs don't get to speak on non-poverty programs, even if you're saying positive things.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on, brother.
Yeah, man. But yeah, thanks for tapping in with us, Ashton.
No, yeah, I'm fine with the BYU fans in here. You know I love my BYU fans, Kevin. So I'm all about it. But
hey, I'll take that. That's a lot of power invested in me from Ashton right there.
Jesus.
We should have an ad break after that. But I will say,
I did want to talk Utah real quick.
Yeah, let's finish out the Big 12 in the rankings, and then we can hit ad break.
Yeah, I don't think that Utah should be in the top 25. I don't think that they'll be a top 25 team this season. I do think that like they lost an absolute legend, the guy who built their football program. Like Urban Meyer showed up, and they were obviously a phenomenal team with Alex Smith in the Mountain West, but Kyle Whittingham took over for him and turned it up a notch. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, Utah had a awesome season. It was, no, Utah has awesome seasons every single year. They made 2 Rose Bowls. Like, that, you can't just replace that, even if it's a guy who's been in and around the program. And I feel like we're discounting a little bit how much that could potentially matter when you put Utah probably about where they were ranked last season going into the preseason, right? And so we'll see here. Devin Dampier, or as Kevin likes to call him, Devon Dampier, is back for Utah. So they got their running back as well. They have a lot of returners. So I partially do understand it, but I just think that like it's a tough task when you lose such a legendary coach like that. And it's not like he just retired and he's in and around the program and it's Coach K and John Shire. It's like, no, he's all the way the hell in Michigan. He said, I'm done here. I'm good. And I'm going to go coach them now. And I just feel like, Utah might be a team that is receiving a little bit too much love, in my opinion, for their ranking.
I'm going to get back to Utah here in a second, because it's not the same. It's like apples and oranges, but they are both fruit. So it's kind of comparable, but not exactly comparable. You're going to get what I'm saying here. This reminds me of when I learned a very important lesson about football and just about sports in general when I was very high and mighty about Arizona after Jed Fish left. I was like, you know what? We still have the pieces here. We still have the players here. What could go wrong? I still think we could compete in the conference. I still think blah, 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 blah.
If you took me back to before that, knowing what I know now, I'd still be sitting there being like, but man, we got T-Mac and Noah. Like, you think we're going to lose like more than 6 games? Are you nuts?
And so I feel like
I'd do it all over again.
Jed Fish is not to Arizona what Kyle Whittingham was to Utah at all, which I think only goes to prove my point further, though, is that when you lose an actual pillar of the community out there, an actual pillar of the university in a lot of ways, and Kyle Whittingham, how is that going to look on the football field? Right? Like, I'm sure that there's belief in the guys that they've hired the same way we had belief in the guys we hired because those were the guys we hired, right? And so, yeah, I'm very I think there's too many question marks. I'm very curious to see how Utah responds with the guy that's led their program the entirety of you and I's life, pretty much, Damon, right? Like, that guy being in Michigan, who, by the way, is 16th in the Big 25 there. You got Utah only 5 spots below them. And so I just feel like it's a lot of weight on that new coaching staff to even be a top 25 team out the gate without Whittingham. I thought that was very interesting. A lot of respect to give to the Utah Utes there for whatever reason. But yeah, Damon, I think that was most of the thoughts we had on the Big 12 is as it relates to the top 25 there. Any non-Big 12 teams that you think Polar Bear and Arlington, what are they doing there?
Let me look at it real quick.
I mean, my Mizzou Tigers at 25.
Yeah,
I'm pumped.
I was gonna say, when I did the audio only, I didn't call them your Mizzou Tigers, but I almost did like multiple times. I was almost like, and Kevin's Mizzou, of course, taking our spot there. At the
I'm a
25
Mizzou guy,
spot.
I'm a Miami guy, I'm an Arizona guy. All the schools are mine.
Looking here, I mean, a lot of these teams, I mean, it makes sense. They're teams that had good seasons last year that made the college football playoff last year. I think, I look at Sam Levitt's LSU at 11. That one's going to be one that I have circled on my, who to watch this season pretty much every week. Let's be
real. You're not, because that's a hate watch. Let's keep it real.
The Sam Levitt tweets will be flowing this season. Especially now that, because they were already flowing. We all know that. Glenn knows that as much as anybody here in the chat. But, now that ASU fans are also on my side with this, it's over. It's time. The Sam Levitt tweets are it's going to be a waterfall this season. So I'll be praying on his downfall. Hopefully he stinks. Washington at 17. I think that bears noting, right? Jed Fish coming in at 17. Most of the players that were Arizona guys are no longer on that team anymore. They've since moved on. So there's less and less reason, I think, to care about what goes on with Washington. Damon Williams is being held at gunpoint to continue to be their quarterback. So that's interesting at least. But I do think Arizona and Washington, I mean, Washington might be, and it kind of goes to the Boise State conversation side of things, Kevin, where they play in the Big Ten. So I want to preface it by saying that. But I do think Washington and Arizona are pretty comparable teams. And Washington is well into this ranking. They're at 17. They're 8 spots away from not being ranked.
Yeah,
right?
They're very safe.
Yeah, and I think that, if they go 7-5 in the Big Ten and Arizona goes, 9-3 or 8-4 in the Big 12, those are pretty equal seasons in my opinion, given that one's in a more difficult conference. But it's interesting that Washington finds themselves very squarely in here when I don't know that they've shown under Jed Fish at all that they can even beat decent teams. They win all their home games that they should win, and then they lose all their road games that they should lose. That's essentially the entire tenure of Jed Fish in Seattle has been so far. So we'll see. Remember when Jed Fish last year was we should be a top 25 team. We only lost to Ohio State by 21.
Yeah.
And you're
all we did was get skunked. All we did was lose in a fashion that if this was a video game, you just quit and go to the next game.
That's one of the lowest margins of loss against Ohio State this year. We're easily a ranked team. And you're what are you talking about?
True.
If you're ever flexing losses as a reason you should be ranked, it's not a good reason to be ranked. But
Sam Albert saying Washington still has Manu as well.
Yeah, he got hurt last year, right? So another season there for Jacob Manu, or I guess he's on Fafita's trajectory as well. But it's interesting to see them in the rankings as well. And then I guess last one I would say anything about is SMU at 19, given that Arizona went toe-to-toe with them in the Holiday Bowl.
That could have been us.
And Kevin Jennings is returning. So their quarterback is back in fold. Rhett Lashley back at coach. I do think that if you're looking at a lot of these teams that are in this ranking here, and I'm not talking about the Michigans, Penn States, the programs that are really large. I'm talking about the teams that are more on Arizona's standing, Houston, SMU, teams that can kind of go have ebbs and flows as programs. It feels as though most of the tandems of coach quarterback returning find themselves here in the top 25. Whereas Arizona, coach quarterback returning, OC, DC returning as well, almost, more than half the starters on offense returning, not in the top 25. So I don't know if that's a Brent Brennan thing. I think Noah Fafita has kind of carved out enough pedigree and respect for himself, especially with the media tour this offseason where the big talking heads really love themselves some Noah Fafita at this point.
And that's why you do that, by the way.
For sure. Yeah, that's proof. Yeah. Proof is in the pudding right there.
Yeah.
You start the Noah Fafita Heisman campaign, and then, is it that serious? No, but people, they take notice of that kind of stuff in, national college football guys will go on ESPN and be like, and watch out for Noah Fafita. He's a guy down there in Tucson. I mean, you just don't see a guy stick with his college program for 5 years these days, especially not at the QB position.
It also I think like what am I gonna say? It doesn't hurt Noah Fafita that usual talking heads like don't really care for Arizona football as a program. They're kind of like, it is what it is. Arizona football, they're down there in Tucson, whatever. So I think like they even look at it like, he stayed where? When they had who calling? He stayed in Tucson, Arizona?
Yeah.
With Brent Brennan? What is up with this guy? I got to check him out. I actually think it kind of adds to his allure if you're like a guy on like ESPN or CBS or Yahoo. If you're just kind of like looking around the nation, I think you do kind of think like, okay, well, this is a kid that could have been anywhere, really, after that, Holiday Bowl season. So like, or Alamo Bowl season, I should say. What kept him in Tucson,
especially if you're going in tandem with T-Mac there, like,
right,
literally almost every team in the country is like, yeah, we'll take both of you.
Yeah, like this isn't Arizona basketball where like, okay, well, let's say I don't even want to throw something out there, but let's say there's a change in the program and all of a sudden people are shifting and you're like,
what's wrong with you?
Exactly. I mean, it could be a change in like maybe like Imoy shifts to like GM and all of a sudden
Ken
people
Nakagawa
are like,
leaves.
Yeah, bro.
More on that later.
We're gonna talk about that later. Oh man, the college grind he's got to my boy. But either way though, like this is a program that while building right now and trying to sustain itself and re-cement itself in the modern era of college sports, like doesn't have a huge illustrious history to like anchor recruits into and be like, well, at least I'm an Arizona Wildcat football player and those guys are the GOATs. Like we all feel that way because we love Arizona and we love Tucson and all this stuff. But nationally, like that's not how Arizona football is seen. So for Noah Fafita to double down, triple down, quadruple down, I think has really gotten him this cachet with these 4-letter network guys. I realize we're also a 4-letter network guy, but you understand, like it gets these national guys, it gives him some allure of like, man, okay, this guy's doing something that no other quarterback does. Even if they start out at a big program, they all move around now. Noah Fafita's stuck around. Why is that? So I actually think it helps him that Arizona doesn't get a ton of respect nationally because it makes him look even nicer in a way.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And I do think that, Glenn hits the nail on the head here where he says, like, if you go in, you beat BYU, you force your way into the rankings.
Man, I was going to ask you that after our first break. I was going to ask you where you think we'll be ranked if we beat BYU in week 2.
When
we beat BYU in week 2. But we're going to talk about that after our first break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. So stick around, leave a like, drink your water. It is especially hot today, and do not go anywhere. Don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend. If I already said that, then tell 2 friends. Speaking of friends, Kim Caballero has been a friend of the Valley for so long now. She was working in the business realm previously on Kim Caballero. She was working in the business realm for over 25 years, and her husband have lived out here for practically 3 decades. So they understand very intimately what matters most when buying or selling a home in this specific market. And wee woo, new Kim Caballero special offer for the 2026 Arizona Cardinals season. If you buy or sell a home with Kim Caballero, you can score big, arguably even bigger than the Arizona Cardinals are going to score this year. And Mike LaFleur has that offense looking smooth now through January 10th. When you buy or sell any home with Kim Caballero, you'll receive 2 lower level tickets to any Arizona Cardinals game of your choice. Home Cardinals game of your choice. I mean, we're not sending you on the private jet, all right? So any home Cardinals game of your choice, plus a $100 gift card of your choice. Plus, we're just sprinkling all types of benefits here. Plus a PHNX diehard membership, which arguably is the best thing on there. So please call Kim Caballero today if you've thought about buying or selling a home recently at 480-489-5012. That's 480-489-5012. And tell her PHNX sent you, because if you don't, how is she going to get you the Cardinals tickets and the diehard membership and all that stuff? It's a very important part. Call Kim Caballero, let her know we sent you.
If you're looking for the ultimate spot to watch the game, maybe watch the card even, potentially, if you were looking for a place to watch UFC this past weekend.
That's a good one this weekend.
Well, I'll tell you what you're going to want to watch the next one at, and that is Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Place a few bets, grab some drinks, make an entire day out of it. You've got to check out Gila River Resorts and Casinos. 4 locations here in the Valley, Lone Butte, V-Kiva, Santan Mountain, and Wild Horse Pass. Guys, we are doing our PHNX live events out there at Wild Horse Pass all throughout the next couple of months here, so keep it locked into gophnx.com/events for more details on that. But there is a reason that Gila River Resorts and Casinos are Arizona's #1 casino destination. It's going to be where you want to do your staycation when you're trying to escape that AZ heat. Kevin, is there anywhere better than a nice AC-filled casino, one that doesn't include the Vegas smells, the Vegas prices. It is just simple, and it's right here in your backyard. So grab your crew, celebrate the big wins, and enjoy everything at Gila River Resorts and Casinos and what they have to offer. Gila River Resorts and Casinos, all the ways you do you. Visit playathila.com for more details.
Welcome on back into the AZ Wildcats podcast. And before Glenn spoiled the thought that was in my brain by saying it before I could say it in the chat.
Apologies.
It's okay, because he said it before even you could say it. So it's all good. But either way, Glenn asked a very good question, or said a very good thought, rather. Then that's why I wanted to ask you, Damon. If/when Arizona defeats BYU on the road, by the way, in week 2, where do you think they will be ranked? Because if you beat BYU, who is borderline a top 10 team at this point in the rankings, in their home stadium, week 2 of the season, where does that put you, right? Where do you think that would put Arizona, assuming that most of these rankings stay the same? Obviously, you could have like Ohio State losing in the first week, and then all of a sudden they drop, and maybe BYU goes up, and that changes these. You know what I'm saying? These things could happen. But if all these things stay the same, where do you think Arizona lands in the rankings that third week?
I would say that you would be somewhere around like 19, 20. I would, venture to guess, and I bet you that they would put BYU maybe like one spot behind you or something like that, especially if it's a close game. I mean, obviously, if somehow you blew them out in Provo, which I don't see being very likely, I think that, as much as Ashton doesn't want to hear it in the chat, we could win that football game. Arizona absolutely could win that football game. But it's more likely that, I think that BYU can blow you out and BYU can win in a close one. But I think if Arizona goes in on the road, they're going to have to win a close one. And so I would expect, you and BYU to kind of be matched up neck and neck with one another. I don't think BYU would fall too far. So, yeah, I think somewhere around that like late teens, like very, very front of the 20s would be my guess. What about yourself?
I think of these as like quintants. You know what I mean? Not a quadrant, but a quintant, meaning 5 in the 25. And so I think that if you beat a top 15 team, that should get you into the quintant right below them, right? So I think this would make Arizona a top 20 team, right? Maybe 20, maybe 19, maybe 18. I think if you start to talk 17, 16, then you're starting to get a little, like, you went from unranked to top 15. That's not happening. But I do think like 20 and 19, like these numbers that Sam Alberts and Glenn are throwing out in the chat are totally realistic if you are able to pull that off against BYU. I could also kind of see the polls saying like, well, it's still very early. This is just the second win of the season. Maybe just kind of slipping one of the teams. Let's say like a Mizzou, a Louisville, Houston, Iowa, any of these teams in that 25 to 20 range. If they take an L in the first 2 weeks, I can see Arizona just sliding into their spot, right? Somewhere in there. So I don't think it really puts them in like a, holy hell, what did Arizona just do? Like, are they a top 10 team now? Like, you and I might talk about that on the show. But I think in terms of the AP rankings, I think that you probably end up like 21, 20, 19 in that range, with maybe even room to get underrated and slept on at like 21, 23, 22, something like that if one of those teams lose. But it would be a huge statement, though, right? I think for Arizona and Brent Brennan to come out and beat BYU in week 2. We've talked already about how important of a game that might be, but now that you know that you're just outside of the rankings, right? It's not like you are like, I don't know, maybe a school from Tempe who didn't get a vote. That can't be right.
If they got a vote, as Glenn already admitted to me on Twitter, it would have been because someone mixed our two schools up.
That's awesome. But yeah,
self-awareness from Glenn. Yeah, you typically don't see that
awesome
from him, so I appreciate it.
That is awesome. But yeah, I mean, if you're a team that's just outside of the top 25, that BYU game now becomes even more pivotal for you because you do have a chance to make that massive statement on the road as well. So it's a huge game. I think it just got even bigger, and I'm even more excited for it as well.
Yeah, it's definitely the marquee Big 12 matchup in the early stages of the season. It'll tell us a lot about Arizona in particular. I think even if BYU loses that game, I don't think it necessarily like ruins their season. It obviously puts them a step down in the Big 12 race, no doubt about it, in week 2. But I do think that like it tells you more that Arizona, I think, is good than BYU is bad.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So that's where I like if Arizona was to win that game. To me, it's more of like, oh, this team is like legit. Like they're gonna do what they did last year, But last year when they barely lost to BYU and they barely lost to Houston, those two results flip-flop and you're in the Big 12 championship game. And so then that becomes the aim and the goal again for next season. And you get to kind of get that barometer early on. You know what I mean? So I think that's how what I would say, in the stakes of that week 2 game. Also, I don't think it necessarily derails your season if you're Arizona, if you lose a game on your schedule that you're going to be underdogs in. It's just, you can't get blown out. That would definitely tell you some things, because that would be very reminiscent of 2024, where you just did not look the part whenever you played against a decent team. You played against any decent team, you were getting blown out.
SOG easy. Don't talk about the elephant in the room, bro. It's just sitting over there. It was chilling. I love this chat. A BYU fan arguing with an ASU fan about a U of A game. I mean, that's what we do here. We bring people together. We unite the people to talk about Arizona athletics.
That, there's almost nothing that can bring U of A and ASU fans together with the sharing the handkerchief.
Yeah, handkerchief.
The one thing, I got bandana, handkerchief.
I mean, they do make handkerchiefs.
Sharing the handkerchief. Yeah. But
those hooligans.
Yeah, I mean, sharing the Tide bandana.
Rabble rousers.
But I will say that there's something about the Utah schools, both of them, Utah and BYU, that gets that out of these two fan bases. It's almost like there's something about that state in particular. It's got to be a mixture of a lot of things.
It's the Yotes.
I think the Yotes has something to do with it. I think that the college sports, now that we're all in the same conference, there's always been a little bit of a back and forth, especially with Utah being the Pac-12. But BYU, you could see that there was hatred there that was forced a little bit because we weren't playing each other all that often. But it's a natural hatred. And then now that you're in the same conference, it plays. I don't know what it is, but it unifies. Our hatred of Utah unifies us as Arizona and Arizona State fans. You got to love it.
I think the Coyotes moving was the inciting incident.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of things.
It's been building though.
Yeah, but I think that was the boiling over moment.
We've hated Utah football fans for the entire time they've been in the Pac-12.
But I think the Coyotes moving to Utah, gave people on social media a lot of reason to be really nasty towards anyone that was, in Utah, from Utah. And then it kind of gets reciprocated a little bit. And then now I think it's kind of gotten to a point where it's we're not even talking about the inciting incident anymore. We just are beefing. And I don't understand. I'm not necessarily got any beef with anybody from Utah, to my knowledge. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, those women do some things that I kind of disagree with. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I
know too much about that. I wish I didn't know anything about
I do. I know way too much about it as well, brother.
See, that shocks me. You're just you're so out on reality TV.
I'm not all the way out on reality TV. I'm out on this new slop generation of reality TV where it's the Jersey Shore was lit back in the day.
Sure.
Lit back in the day.
Yeah.
Right? What was it? Big Brother with all the security cameras? Lit back in the day.
Summer House was crazy this year.
Right? But Love Island, all these different islands with we got blind people over here finding love. Oh, we have people on the spectrum over here finding love. Oh wow, we have Love Island. It's all the same stuff. I want new. I want fresh. I want actual interesting drama, not just oh my god, he in the casa, he said some stuff and we're I hate it. That's what Jersey Shore was doing back in the day, and it was fire because that was 20 years ago.
It was revolutionary.
It was now you're just doing mic and drills at halftime in 2026. No one we got no mic and drills work. That's my point. Mic and drills still work, but we got nothing else in the bag. We've developed nothing. I don't know. We gotta do an ad break.
It's the off season. If you couldn't,
we gotta
do
an ad break. Man.
But I did want to real quick hit on this Utah hatred.
Yeah, for sure.
Friend of the program, Big Tucson Dad. He tweeted out something about they need to add that MLB team in Utah when they finally do, because I
saw that tweet.
It'll be one of the best natural rivalries with the Diamondbacks, and I was I'm in immediately between what's already been built here between the Coyotes moving and then the Utah BYU hatred in the college side of things. I would hit the ground running, despising the Salt Lake City, freaking bees or whatever they're going to call them.
Bees are important for the
environment. No, that actually would be a cool name. So they'd probably be opposed to that because Mammoth is,
Mammoth, the Utah Mammoth
guys,
are
it's like Kraken. Get it? Because like they made the Kraken, and so we made our team like 5 years later, and we did Mammoth. It's like the same thing.
I feel like Mammoth is like
So
what
lame, dude.
like if you go into NHL, like if you play some Chell, you know what I mean? If you hop in Chell and you do like a custom team, I feel like Mammoth would be one of the presets. You know what I mean?
Maybe, but it would probably say Mammoths because Mammoth is singular, and no one understands why.
Damn, they had one Mammoth in all of Utah?
Like the Kraken
The
is like
Utah Mammoth.
there is a Kraken. Like that is a mythical animal of which there is one. But there were multiple mammoths. There was a lot of them roaming the earth. I don't know, something to chew on. They wanted to do Yeti, but I think the company Yeti got in the way. And Utah Yeti would have worked, but Mammoth
Something
stinks.
to chew on is crazy to me. But yeah, honestly, Yeti and Yeti would have been a great brand integration. We got to talk about the brand integration between Big 12 and Monster.
I think Yeti shut it down.
I know, but I'm saying I think it would have been awesome. Sell everything in like a plastic Yeti cup.
It messes with the SEO.
Mm,
You want people to
Does
look
it
it up,
though?
and if you want people to type it in, and then it only knows one place
hold
to
up.
send them to.
Utah, we're going to prove this right now. Utah Yeti. Utah Yeti.
I mean, it might give you articles about like
It
them
did.
maybe like being that wanting to be the team name.
It did, but okay, so like the
It's more about if you-
seventh result is from Yeti. It says Yeti Utah Gear 2026.
You want to just type in Yeti, is what I'm saying, and you
Yeah.
don't want the NHL standings to come up on the screen. You want it to show up with the.
I'm not sure it would. You want to know why I'm not sure it would? And I'm not saying it's 100% that I don't think it would. I'm saying I'm not sure that it wouldn't. Because when you look up Mercury, right, you're probably looking for the Phoenix Mercury. But the car company shows up every time. And maybe it's because that's the W, and maybe, you know what
I
I'm
think
saying?
it's part of it. I mean, like,
But you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a chance that Yeti's been so well established for so long. They're kind of like part of the culture, and like how Stanley is in a way.
I mean, you're saying things that I can't necessarily argue with because we don't have the data.
It's just a convo, you know. It's just a little yapping.
But I'm
I
sure
do think
that,
it would
that
work.
was why I think the company was out on it. And someone can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat if I don't have that correct. But
We're exploring so many miscellaneous topics.
I mean,
today.
honestly, we're
kinda
hitting
pumped.
everything. I hope everybody's. This is the more you know episode of the AZ Wildcats podcast.
This is just what it's like to sit next to me and Damon at a desk. Honestly,
Pretty much. Welcome to the
Minus
Kevin
some
and Damon
expletives.
Hangout Show. We're going to hit
Yeah.
our next ad break. We'll be right back on the other side, and we're talking a little bit of Arizona basketball recruiting. Please do not go anywhere. Drink your water. Leave a like on this video.
Damon, I have been on the couch a lot over this summer.
This is true.
You want to know something that's really made it an enjoyable experience, though? Pure edibles, my friend. Because whether it's like hanging out with my girlfriend, watching a documentary about like the ocean or something, because that is something I did do, you know what I mean? Because we took a road trip, so I took my pure edibles to California with me, and I sat on a bed and I watched a nature documentary about the Pacific Ocean because we were sitting on the Pacific Ocean. Our hotel was on the ocean, and I was like, I gotta learn about this massive body of water that's next to me. Pop a couple pure edibles, watch the documentary, I'm locked in, right? But if that's not your vibe, there's so many other vibes you can catch with our friends over at Pure Edibles, because it's a Freedom State founded company. That's right, from right here in Arizona at Noble Herb Dispensary, the home of Pure Edibles. It's now made in Phoenix, Arizona. And I know we got Glenn in the chat. They do support ASU as well. So if you love companies that support local, that support people from within the state, Pure Edibles can be that for you. But let's talk about the gummies here, because they're not covered in sugar like all their competitors or like some of the, you know, mainstream edible companies. No, it's a full-fledged candy company that just so happens to indulge in the fun stuff like CBN, CBG, CBD, and marijuana-derived THC. And they're designed to be ripped or bitten in half to dial in that exact dosage or share with your co-host. You know what I mean? If you want to show Damon, like, oh my God, Damon, I found, I don't know, soapbox racing in the woods. Do you want to watch this video with me on YouTube? I'll rip a pure edible for us and we can have that. But if you want to tap in with that, the effects are purely listed on the outside of the tin, so you know exactly what you're getting into. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 150 now dispensaries across Arizona, including True Leaf.
Shout out to Pure Edibles there. And of course, shout out to Arizona Lottery, a staple here in this great state of ours, always giving back to the community, of course, as a part of their campaigns that they're doing, including the $10 scratcher Route 66 that has been going on all summer long, the ultimate route to the riches. The Route 66 campaign includes focus on a $30 scratcher of ultimate riches. And of course, the winnings are right there in front of you. 100th anniversary Route 66 scratchers with over $13.5 million in total prizes, over $4 million in $100 prizes, and a chance to win 10x your prize. Guys, this is going to be your one opportunity this summer to get involved in the Route 66 Scratchers, which of course will be ending at the end of the summer. And if you are a big road tripper, this is the campaign for you, where they have Arizona-inspired Route 66 Scratchers. So it's going to be absolutely electric. Get involved in it as well. And I think that Powerball, Kevin, is up to a ridiculous amount of money right now.
I think it is too.
I believe it's the Phoenix score, of course, of 4 days ago was over $1 million from somebody
Let me
here
get a
in
piece.
Phoenix. So make sure you guys get involved with the Powerball with Arizona Lottery as well. Play and win today with our friends at Arizona Lottery. Must be 21 plus to play. And shout out Arizona Lottery.
Man, love to play with our friends over at Arizona Lottery. I love the chat today. I do love the chat. I mean, we're roasting on names in the chat. I will say, I like the name Ashton. I actually like the name. I do get what Lost Highway is saying about there being a certain type of names out there in Utah.
Oh, for sure.
But I like the name Ashton.
Ashton,
I like the name
to
Kingston.
Brigham?
Yeah, are you? What kind of young are you?
Kevin and Brigham?
Kevin and Brigham is awesome. That sounds like a buddy cop with like me and Brigham Young. I don't know. Sean revealing that, I think he said this before though, but revealing that he
that is a
name
scene. I don't know if that would have been allowed.
Courtesy.
That's
of,
all I'll say.
What's going on? What did we'll talk. I don't know what I missed, but courtesy of Sean Connery, that's his namesake since his dad is a huge James Bond fan. Sean Bond. Either we're Bond. I don't. Let's move on. Damon, Arizona basketball recruiting, right? And actually, before we get to Arizona basketball recruiting, can we talk about brands some more? Because we were just talking about Yeti and the Yeti.
I'm sure Max Simpson would love that.
Well, I want to talk about Big 12 and Monster Energy. Because can we, I hope, I should have pulled it for the show, but I hope that the images I saw on social media yesterday were AI. I'm hoping for AI, guys. That's how bad, I'm hoping that the Kansas uniform patch that has been circulating social media, where, because I'm an idiot and didn't pull it for the show, I'll just describe it for you. There's a big black patch, just like we saw on the court for the Arizona logo, with the Big 12 and the Monster logos. I think Damon's pulling it up and he'll send it in Slack, and then I'll put it on the show, and that's how it's going to go. But it's ugly.
You're talking about this crypto patch?
No, brother. I'll pull it. But, like, it's just the integration. I hope it's AI, because there's no way that the Big 12 sat down and said, you know what rocks? Throwing a massive rectangle on the chest of our players.
Oh, is that real?
I don't know. That's why I'm hoping it's AI.
That looks so fake, but Reddit College Football wouldn't post a fake picture, I don't think.
That's a
reliable account.
Do you understand me
I
now?
just put it in our Slack there for you to put on screen.
Cool. You filibuster a little bit.
Oh, chat, that's about as bad as it gets. Wow. And the thing is I sent the other patch they have as well in there. So, and you can see that on the screen on this photo we're going to pull up on the screen, Kevin, where they have dueling patches on both sides for sponsors, and it has absolutely ruined the Kansas Jayhawks football uniforms, which weren't that cool to begin with, may I add. But
3 seconds, chat.
Like, it's over. It's over.
Man, I mean, that's gross. Like, I hope that the patch, I hope that it's AI. Because it looks kind of AI, but it also kind of looks real as well. I mean, the guy in the back, like the back left, sorry, my brother, I don't know your name, but it looks like his is kind of over the K, but it also looks like his jersey is folded as well. So is the patch like that stiff?
I mean, I think that the back two guys are the ones that are making this look fake.
But it also makes it look real, because if that patch is as stiff as it would be if it was brand new and the jersey folds over the K, the patch is just gonna block it. It's like having a logo. Like, I have a logo on my shorts right now. And like, if I folded my short, the logo is going to stay straight. If that makes sense. I don't know if that made any sense. But yeah, I hope that this is fake. I hope that this is AI and that they're going to go with something similar to what's being mocked up on the social media streets, where it's pretty much just like the Big 12 logo in school colors over the Monster logo. And it looks pretty clean, actually. But this is gross. And I think it's genuinely Damon, correct me if I'm getting out over my skis on this. I think it's one of the worst, if they continue to go with this, it's one of the worst brand integrations ever. Like, I've not seen one person.
This is a stain on Brett Yormark's career, if that's what we're going with.
Dog, I've not seen one human being on any social media platform saying, you know what? Big 12 kind of cooked here. I've seen everyone is saying, man, this is ugly. Man, this is like obtrusive. Like it's invasive to my eyes. I don't know. I hated it. I'm going to pull up another example though, Damon, so that it kind of goes to show that even if this one image of the Kansas Jayhawks patch might be AI, I have another image of a different patch that I don't think is AI. So what are you reacting to? And I'll pull that up.
I'm laughing at Lost Highway's comment in the chat. If you could scroll up a tiny bit. He says that we get more money from the right way heating and cooling blimp than we do from the monster patches.
My God.
Guys, I'm telling you, I just scrolled all the way through the quotes and the replies. I don't think this is fake at all.
I don't think so either.
Not one person says that it's AI.
But I'm hoping that it is AI.
I mean, I would love for it to be AI, but not one person is saying that this is definitely fake.
Now look at this. West Virginia. Mountain Mama, take these jerseys home and burn them country roads. I mean, this, at least they did the color. It looks a little cooler with the color yellow on the black background.
That definitely looks better to like with the big, to at least like no one's saying you have to integrate the monster green logo, but you like this.
Wait, hold up.
This is much better with the yellow with West Virginia. It blends it at least a tiny bit better into the uniform.
I'm gonna do something that I usually don't. Actually, I'm a preview mode first. Look, I want to draw direct attention to one part of this jersey. I can't. Damn it. But either way, the Antero logo on their left, our right shoulder, is massive.
It's bleeding over into the shoulder design.
Oh my, dude.
Yeah.
Big 12. We have to get it together. We have to get it together.
Yeah.
Between this and what we've already seen to be true of Arizona's basketball court, which is just that black square logo, rectangle logo, just in the lane. This is one of the like most poorly handled brand integrations I've seen in like a sports context.
That's pretty bad, man.
It's horrific. And like you said, I understand that what I'm about to say is dramatic. Damon and I can be kind of dramatic guys sometimes. But like this actually, and I like Brett Yormark as a commissioner, but the way that this is unfolded is kind of like we have a Tide stick at the ready. Like the Tide stick is in the back pocket right now. We're going to whip out the Tide stick and see if he can clean this up. But like, no, but see, Glenn, at least, like, so here's my thing with Alchemy, right? Like with them getting the name on the floor and it being McHale Center at Alchemy Arena. At least that guy.
Other way, actually.
You're right. You get my point. Like messing with the name and all that. At least that guy is an Arizona guy. And that guy likes Arizona basketball. And that guy is trying to support his program the best that he can. This is just, I have nothing. I don't even like Monster Energy. I don't even like energy drinks. I like coffee myself. Like, I have no connection to them. They have no connection to us. Like, at least the Alchemy felt like, albeit very intrusive, it felt kind of somewhat local in a way. This is just like, we're the little man here. You know, we're not even getting paid that well to do this.
Yeah.
And so it just feels crazy to me.
I mean, it's just the commercialization of sport.
Yeah.
Where it, like,
we're going to look like NASCAR in
there's
3 years.
This constant push where, like the amount of money that you make, even if it's profit, it's not enough. Mm-hmm. You need more profit. Mm-hmm. We need to be giving back to more of our investors, to our shareholders. And there's like no sanctity anymore. No. It's just, I say it all the time, but it's just, it's a microcosm of society these days. This country is really bad at it in particular. Like everything needs to be commercialized. Everything needs to be, we need to throw money at it. Like these, we need sponsors on all of the jerseys. Whatever happened to having nice looking uniforms? Dude. Remember those days?
Whatever happened to it, like primarily being like, man, the people are gonna love this. They're gonna want to buy this.
Kevin, I threw a picture of some Arizona football players. If you could grab that and throw that on screen as well. And I grabbed it for a different reason than for what I'm going to say here. But like, look how much nicer these jerseys look without a big, giant, ugly, disgusting, like brand patch on both sides of the uniform. just a freaking Nike logo and a Big 12 logo. It just looks significantly better. It's not even close.
Crazy part is, though, because ASU actually did something similar where for their media day and stuff, they didn't have the patch on there. This is going to be even worse when we see the patch on it now. Like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, damn, I've seen what it could look so clean without it. Like, in credit to ASU, they did a jersey reveal yesterday on their social media pages. Clean-ass jerseys. Really fire jerseys from ASU, right? But they're going to have that ugly patch on it when it actually comes to playing. And so, yeah, I was blown away when I saw that, boy. I'll tell you what. Because I saw it on the court, and I felt like, this is disgusting. It's horrific. I hate it. No way they do that same design on the jersey. No way, right?
Oh, yeah.
And, okay, so we've talked all this much, and I do want to talk about basketball to end the show here real quick, but my last thought on this, Damon, is I forget who I said it on Twitter, but they brought up a good point. Brett Yormark is a guy that has been known to respond to public critique. Respond to constructive criticism from the fans. Do you think that there's a chance that he moves off of this design if he sees that it's not well liked? Like, do you think that there's a chance that they try to alter the patch, whether it be sometime early on this season, whether it be later? Or do you think that this, like, if this is true, that this is just what they're going to rock with through the rest of the year because that's just how that works? I think there's a world where, like, if we actually, as a Big 12 fan base, come out and be like, this sucks. I don't like it. This is bad look for you, Brett Yormark. I think he kind of goes, is there any other backup designs we could maybe pivot to? Or do you think I'm crazy that this is just what we're stuck with and this is our capitalist hell?
You sign a multi-year deal, so I don't know what you'd have to like get into the legalese of what like those outs and buyouts look like. You probably have to pay them money to make sure that you're not using the sponsorship anymore. I think you're locked in. And
but they pulled the court like during the tournament.
I think that this is the start of the end, where all the conferences are going to start doing stuff like this. And
all the other conferences get more money too.
Well, two of them. But yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I meant, yeah. Yeah, no, it's unfortunate. And after our final ad break on today's show, we have some Arizona basketball recruiting updates quickly before we get out of here today. So leave a like, stick around, send a message to Brett Yormark letting him know that you want a different patch on the jerseys or a confirmation that it's AI. Either way, we'll be right back after our final break today. Stick around, leave a like, do not go anywhere. I want to tell the good people, no, in fact, the great people at home about Phoenix Raceway, because yes, it is actually that time of year again. You already know Phoenix is one of the best sports cities in America, but this fall, it's about to raise the bar to a whole new level because the chase returns to Phoenix Raceway October 16th through 18th. Watch NASCAR's championship contenders battle at the Freeway Insurance 500 in one of the most critical races of the road to the championship at this iconic track. RV camping is available. If you want the best access in motorsports, we can do that for you. Go inside the garage, walk the track, meet the drivers, and catch the pre-race concert with the Desert Diamond Casino Infield Experience. Experience the intensity of Freeway Insurance 500 weekend from October 16th to the 18th. Secure your seats at phoenixraceway.com. That's phoenixraceway.com. Every lap counts. Every point matters. The chase at Phoenix Raceway, October 16th through 18th. Championship hopes are on the line. Catch the Freeway Insurance 500 at Phoenix Raceway, October 16th through what? October 18th.
Kevin, if you were watching this show last week, you would have known about the Inner Circle Rewards Membership Fuel Day that happened on August 13th. Now, you're going to have to, hold on a little bit as we wait for the next one. But Inner Circle Rewards members were saving 40 cents off per gallon at the pump, which in the Big 2-6 is a significant amount of savings here.
Dude, I was just in California. Do you know what the prices are out there?
Oh, brother, do I ever.
Dude, we had to find a Circle K.
I was the sacrificial lamb that paid for the gas on the way back from California. Carpooled with 3 of my buddies out to San Diego, and because they went out of their way to scoop me in Phoenix, Kevin, I was like, you know what? When we come back from California, I'll pay for gas. And it hurt. It hurt. But hey, Circle K is trying to make it hurt less with the Inner Circle Rewards membership. Of course, 40 cents off per gallon when you sign up, or when you get the Inner Circle Fuel Days. It's 25 cents off per gallon though when you sign up, which is still pretty solid savings there. And you can stack. Of course, you got 3 cents off per gallon for every time you fill up after those first 5 fill-ups, and then 5 cents off per gallon when you hit premium status like me and Kevin. It's so easy to save on the Inner Circle Rewards membership, and it's free to sign up for. Really simple. You download a free app, you plug in an email, a password, and you're done. So join that Inner Circle for free by downloading the app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
And we're back. And to wrap up today's show, we're just going to I guess we can tease these topics and talk more about them a little bit later on in the week as well. But the news that you want to know is that NaVorro Bowman and Darius Wabington will both be on their official visits to Arizona the same weekend as the weekend of the Red and Blue Showcase. That is September 25th, I believe. Maybe it's 15th, and my brain is swapping them. No, it's September 25th that they're going to be visiting that weekend, the 25th through the 27th. Red and Blue game is, I think that's Saturday, the 26th of September. So that is a huge, huge development, especially considering the idea that is kind of circulating out there on the internet streets that Arizona is not going to get both Bowman and Diggs because they're both combo guards. I think that they end up at different programs. But it is interesting that Bowman is visiting the same weekend as Darius Wabington. It feels like maybe you try to sell him on having this guy he can play with at Arizona in Wabington, who is also going to be a highly regarded prospect. So that is a big development. We knew those visits were coming, but the dates were not quite official. And NaVorro Bowman, Darius Wabington, September 25th, they will be in Tucson. So make sure to leave your comments on their posts, bear down, all that stuff. Get them to Arizona because they're very, very good prospects. And we'll talk more about that later this week as well.
Certainly are. From everything we're hearing, Darius Wabington is definitely, I think, on his way to becoming an Arizona Wildcat. Certainly things could change. You look at, he has 6 visits scheduled, right? Like, it's not as if, he's not considering other schools, and they're serious programs as well. Like, nothing to scoff at when it comes to Indiana. They got money. Louisville, we know they got money. Illinois, North Carolina, and then of course Texas, which is become kind of our boogeyman when it, in recruiting these days. But yeah, I think Darius Wabington, well on his way to becoming a Wildcat. Seems like it's trending in that direction. Hopefully it happens, because what was it, Finkelstein that came out and said this is the most skilled big in the class?
I think so.
Right off these visits being scheduled, that was his takeaway, was most skilled big in the class, picks his top 6, schedules his official visits. Yeah, I do think that Arizona definitely in a good spot there on that recruitment. And then with NaVorro Bowman Jr. Coming in on Red and Blue night, which always a good time, always a solid recruiting opportunity as well, right? Because it's a little bit more low key, it's a little bit more relaxed. I feel like you could get those guys in the locker room before the actual game itself starts, and the fans are fired up to watch basketball for the first time in months here, especially after a Final Four season last year. So I expect it to be pretty hype inside McHale, and you'll get a warm welcome for those recruits.
You will indeed, and you'll get a warm welcome tomorrow when you join us on the AZ Wildcats podcast right here on this YouTube channel. Yes, including you, Ashton, in the chat right here at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Damon, I'm going to keep it real with everybody. You know what I'm about to do? I'm about to finish my job today, which concludes of uploading our audio and doing some clips for Espo, and then I'm going to get to swinging in New York City, man. That's right. Spider-Man 2 is calling my name. So let's get out of here, Damon. Let's have a good rest of our day, and I hope to see everyone here tomorrow.
Let's do it. I'm sorry. I'm me and Ashton. Ashton, I like you, brother. There's no way you're like 40 or something.
Dude, there's no, the 40-year-olds don't even know about the point laugh stuff yet. No way.
There's just
they don't know about the dead rose dove. They don't know about none of that. They're still sticking to laughing emojis.
If it is true, you are genuinely the most beyond help individual, I think, on planet Earth. But if you're a kid, then that's perfectly fine, because I actually probably would love to act like this myself. It's hilarious. I get it. And the trolling is fun. We appreciate our BYU fans.
We do.
Throwing the
damn, Jared saying we don't even, that's crazy.
Damn.
We have now
Jared
Civil
not
War.
Ashton.
Civil War. It's
You
like
hate to
Iron
see
Man,
it.
Captain America between Jared and Ashton. This is crazy. This is crazy. Who you got, chat? We're placing bets. I'm just kidding.
Can you imagine somebody in their like mid 40s using the dead rose emojis?
You know what I mean? Like there's just that hasn't made it yet. That hasn't. You either.
They'll
no,
be
I will
there
say,
in 20 years.
If Ashton is in their 40s, man, you know what's happening? They got like some niece or nephew that is just like keeping them up to date with all the TikTok slang. He's saying stuff like
But
unalived.
that's sad. Isn't that sad?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Ashton.
Grow up a little bit.
If
But there's no way
Ashton-
it's true.
No,
It's fine. He's like 14 and he's having fun.
Yeah.
Have a good time, Ashton. Hopefully we see you later on in the season. Hopefully you show back up for week 2 to donate that $1,000 that you said you'd donate in the chat there.
And I'll try to turn some water to wine for you as well.
Yeah,
I'll get on that.
Black Jesus will be right on that. Of course, follow Black Jesus at Kevo Post. He is the 2026 All City Network Content Creator of the Year, and I am Damon Fairall. Follow me at Damon Dog. We are at PHNX_Wildcats on all social media except for TikTok, where we are at AZ Wildcats Pod. And we'll see you tomorrow right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel at 2 p.m., our regularly scheduled showtime. Until then, peace out, bear down, like this video, and
go Cats.
I've been following you on Twitter.
We all silly like the mayor.